When we meet people with toxic personalities, we usually don't understand their toxic nature. It is only after a particular incident or event that we are confronted with the toxicity. In today's cyber world, toxicity is not as subtle as it used to be. The reason could be that cyber interactions are not person to person, and therefore it is easier for toxicity to manifest. Welcome to another video. When we discuss something, we usually talk about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. But in this video, I am going to talk first about what we shouldn't do when we are dealing with toxic people. I think they are more important to protect ourselves. Fyodor Dostoevsky said, "Don't lie to yourself." When you are dealing with toxic people, you shouldn't lie to yourself and think that it is temporary or it won't happen again. It will. Also, don't think the problem will go away unless you accept that there is a problem. Because it is really not about you. It's about the toxic person. It's about their life experiences and attitudes. It's about their decision to become toxic. Most of the time, their behavior is geared towards feeling powerful. Don't try to excuse them and explain their behavior to you and others. Don't expect toxic people to change their nature with time or age either. Remember that in life, we sometimes find ourselves in situations where we have no choice. But when it comes to becoming toxic or not, despite everything we have been through in our lives, we do have a choice. When we are faced with the toxic situation and have accepted it, don't act powerless and without choice. No one can be toxic to you repeatedly unless you choose to tolerate it, live with it, or live up to their expectations. If they apologize and promise to change, see if they keep their promise. They can lie. Don't let them use you repeatedly. Don't believe when a toxic person or anyone else in society tells you that it is your fault. You are also not responsible for their toxic behavior and you are not to blame. So don't let yourself feel upset, angry, low, or any other negative feelings. These can slow down your progress in life. Don't try to explain the situation to toxic people or tell them you are innocent or right. Don't show them your feelings. Don't lash out in anger. Don't let toxic people influence you. It is important not to believe toxic people when they try to create an altered reality that makes you doubt the existing reality and feel that something is wrong with you. If you don't recognize early on that a toxic person has a problem, or if you try to explain away their behavior, you can become vulnerable to their manipulation, and they may create an altered reality for you or tarnish your reputation. This is even more of a problem if the toxic person is someone close to you. So what can you do when you are confronted with toxicity? First of all, try to control your emotions. Be calm even if you know you haven't done anything wrong. Keep a neutral expression and don't react, because reacting gives toxic people a sense of power and satisfaction. Try to remove yourself from the situation as quickly as possible. To stay in control, understand and accept that the toxic person has a problem is probably taking their frustration out on you. Make a conscious choice not to react, even though it may not be easy. Religious philosophies offer different advice on how to deal with toxicity. For instance, Christian philosophy suggests turning the other cheek, which means responding with peacefulness instead of resistance. According to Gautam Buddha's teachings, we should practice boundless loving kindness, which means responding with kindness to those who treat us kindly and those who treat us poorly. Our emotions, especially kindness, should not depend on the other person, and we should practice non-attachment to their words, actions, or emotions. Buddhism teaches us to understand the impermanence of our thoughts. Our thoughts come and go, and unless we attach significance to them, they will pass. This is especially important when dealing with resentful thoughts provoked by toxic people. By letting them go and not acknowledging them, we give ourselves the strength to face toxic situations. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius advises that the best way to react to a wrongdoer is not to become like them. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of not reacting to bad behavior from toxic people. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us to let rude people be rude and to let our ego go. We should also smile back at people who are rude to us because their behavior is a reflection of their upbringing. While these teachings are helpful in dealing with sudden or unexpected exposure to toxicity, it may become necessary to distance yourself if you are repeatedly exposed. It is also important to create boundaries and learn to say no whenever necessary, especially if you feel you are being used. Remember that you don't have to live for others and their expectations. Putting yourself first and looking after your interests is not selfish. However, in situations where it's not possible to completely stay away from a toxic person, like a sick parent or someone from work, we must work out a conscious strategy to deal with the situation. This could involve establishing firm boundaries or finding external support from close friends or other family members. However, it's important to be careful in choosing a support group as they may not always be sincere, which could create unexpected problems. It is also important to avoid being overly dependent on others for support and to find ways to detach ourselves emotionally from the situation. If you encounter toxicity in the online world, the first step you should take is to leave the platform or that particular space. If you have been receiving value, friendship, and recognition through your social media presence, this could be distressing in many ways. However, it's important to prioritize your mental well-being and remember that nothing is permanent in life. Cyber friendships are even more fleeting. If you are active on social media, it's essential to understand that you are vulnerable to toxicity. Please subscribe to our channel. Share this video, like it and comment. This will help us make more videos. We must make a conscious choice not to let behavior of toxic people create negative thoughts in us, and also let them know that their behavior is not affecting us. We should work towards developing inner peace and remember that we give power to our negative thoughts if we entertain them without letting them go. Dealing with toxic people is a common problem, but many of us may not talk about it due to the fear of being stigmatized, embarrassment, or misplaced feelings of guilt. While some of us may be able to stay away from toxic family members or spouses, others may find it difficult due to cultural restrictions, social or economic situations, or insufficient support to move on and start new. However, it's important to prioritize our own peace of mind and find ways to cope with the situation. Thank you so much for watching.